Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers and seekers, those who are lost and those who are found. Tonight we return to a favorite fragment of mine, How to Catch a Tiger. However, we will delve deeply into this fragment this evening, so buckle up, get ready, because we are about to get cracking. Let's remind ourselves of the fragment. The headline reads, How to Catch a Tiger, and the body reads, How to catch a tiger before a tiger catches you is how to catch a tiger. Now let us begin. The philosopher speaks on the tiger phrase. 1. The difficulty of beginning. There are times when one must admit that words are already too late. By the time a word is spoken, the moment it sought to grasp has moved on. A window has opened and closed. A danger has flashed past. The mind, reaching to name it, is already behind. In such instances, speech is not the guide but the weight that drags one under. This is why the tiger phrase exists. It begins as language, yes, 3 short lines arranged in sequence. But to treat it as language, as a string of symbols to be decoded, is to miss its function. The phrase is not for the tongue but for the nerves. It does not wish to be explained, it wishes to be absorbed. The phrase must dissolve into the body, must pass through recognition into reflex. It must be caught in the spine, not the intellect. 2. The refusal of metaphor. The temptation is immediate to call the tiger a metaphor, to say that the tiger represents danger or mortality or fate, to imagine it as a figure, a stand-in, a convenient symbol for the predator that lurks in every moment. But this is false. The fragments insist again and again, the tiger is a tiger. What is meant by this insistence? It is not a refusal of poetry, but a refusal of safety. For metaphor makes things safe. To say the tiger is like death is to place distance between oneself and death. To say the tiger is a metaphor for urgency is to cushion oneself in interpretation. The phrase disallows this. It demands that one face what is real, immediate, and untranslatable. The tiger is speed itself, faster than thought. The tiger is the end of things, should one be too slow. The tiger is the strike that comes the moment you think of defending yourself. To metaphorize it is to blunt its teeth. To take it literally is to preserve its edge. 3. The work of timing. The tiger phrase is a training tool, but it does not train intelligence. It trains timing. There is a profound difference. Intelligence is retrospective. It solves after the fact, it explains once the event is past. Timing is preemptive. Timing lives before the event, in the half-second that decides everything. To live by intelligence is to live always a moment behind. To live by timing is to live in the moment before the moment. This is why the transcript repeats the phrase, the breath, before the breath. The tiger phrase does not sharpen cognition, it creates a rhythm that anticipates reality. 4. The window of the real. Every event contains a window, the moment it can be acted upon, before it closes. Most are blind to these windows. They act when it is already too late, or they hesitate and let opportunity pass. The tiger phrase cultivates a felt sense for this opening and closing. This sense is not intellectual. It cannot be reasoned out. It is preverbal, embodied, neural. It is the quickening of the pulse, the tightening of the muscles, the body knowing before the mind does. This is why the drills are so austere, reading 3 lines aloud with each breath, inverting the phrase, repeating until language collapses into rhythm. These exercises are meant to train the body to catch the window without asking permission from the mind. 5. The trap of analysis. Here is the paradox. To analyze the phrase is already to be caught by it. The tiger hunts the thinker. Overanalysis leads to paralysis, and paralysis is death. The phrase is not meant to be solved. It is meant to solve you. The intellect longs to capture meaning, to establish safety in interpretation. But this longing is precisely the trap. The tiger phrase exposes the lie of intellectual safety zones. It shows that every attempt to rest secure in meaning dulls the edge. To translate the tiger into metaphor is to domesticate it, to place it in a cage of one's own comfort. And in that moment, while you declare yourself safe, the tiger moves. 6. Cognitive immunity. Training in the phrase produces what the fragments call cognitive immunity. This is the ability to resist being baited by logic traps, leading questions, or verbal manipulations. For ordinary speech depends upon the mind being caught in loops, circling over questions until the answer is forced. But the tiger phrase builds immunity to these snares. It trains the operator to step outside of language, to respond with movement rather than with words. Thus, when faced with intellectual entanglement, the trained one does not argue but shifts, pivots, preempts. The tiger is not a rhetorician, the tiger is an interruption. And so the operator becomes untouchable in the verbal arena, not because of superior logic, but because of superior timing. 7. The edge of discipline. All disciplines have a cost, and the tiger phrase is no exception. It cannot be flirted with, cannot be practiced half-heartedly. To take it up is to accept a life lived without safety. For once the phrase is internalized, safety becomes impossible. You are always at the edge, always at the moment before the moment. This condition is not sustainable for most. It is exhausting, dangerous, unsettling. But for those who persist, it produces what the fragments call edge living. Some name it thus, others refuse to name it at all, and simply move within it. The world itself begins to move differently around them. Time no longer drags, it sharpens. Every gesture, every breath becomes edged. 8. Failure modes. The text is clear, there are dangers. The first is overanalysis, which we have spoken of. The second is false mastery, the belief that one has solved the phrase or tamed the tiger. This arrogance is fatal. The tiger moves the moment you declare yourself safe, and so to believe you have mastered it is already to have lost. Another danger is overuse of the intellect in training. The phrase is not meant to be understood, but enacted. To attempt to know it is to trap oneself in rigidity. The fragments warn. The phrase is not meant to be solved, it is meant to solve you. Those who resist this inversion fall into paralysis, their reflexes dulled, their awareness clouded. 9. Drills and exercises. The practical training described is deceptively simple, but brutal in its implications. Breath drill, 3 lines spoken aloud, 1 per breath without pause. The exercise continues until rhythm overtakes thought, until the phrase sinks below consciousness into reflex. Inversion drill. Speak the phrase to a partner, they repeat it in inversion. This trains adaptability, reversal, the ability to pivot mid-gesture. Mirror drill. Partners alternate the phrase without stumble, training mirror awareness and preemptive timing. Tiger pursuit drill. Reverse the phrase, the tiger catches you, and observe how each variation reshapes awareness. This teaches humility before the phrase. Internalization signs. You know the phrase has entered you when you act before naming the threat, when you sense the shift in environment half a second before it occurs. These drills are not decorative. They are designed to tear language away from intellect and reforge it as timing. 10. The tiger as time. Let us speak plainly now. The tiger is time itself, not time as measured by clocks, but time as lived in the edge of an event. The tiger is faster than thought, sharper than hesitation. It is what ends things if you are too slow. The brilliance of the tiger phrase is that it trains you not to understand time, but to inhabit it, to live in the half-second that precedes the world's unfolding, to breathe in the breath before the breath. This is not mystical, it is practical. It is the only way to survive when the tiger moves. 11. The closing of the circle. The fragments end where they began, with the tiger uncaught. For though the phrase teaches you to catch a tiger, this catching is never possession. To catch a tiger is not to cage it, not to master it, not to hold it. To catch a tiger is to move with it, in it, as it. The phrase teaches that the only true safety is to abandon safety. The only true mastery is to refuse mastery. The only true knowledge is timing. And the only true philosophy is discipline. 12. Final reflection. Thus, the philosopher concludes, the tiger phrase is no mere text. It is a device, a discipline, a blade. It enters not the mind, but the nerves. It dissolves the illusion of safety, strips away the comfort of metaphor, and demands that one live always on the edge. To take it up is to risk everything, but to refuse it is to remain forever behind the moment, caught in the loops of thought, overtaken by the tiger again and again. The tiger waits. The tiger does not forgive delay. And that, my friends, is how one learns to live in the breath before the breath.